What the hell is going on? Hope everyone's night, day, wherever you are. Hope that shit is going well. My name is Hancho, and this is my good guy.
Siriaco, call me Rocco.
And man, it's an exciting week. It's an absolutely wonderful week because it is the Senior Bowl, the East West grind grain, something that we personally like to view. I've been viewing the Senior Bowl since goodness gracious, I couldn't even tell you how long. Me and backstory, just being a Cowboys fan, a lot of the guys that we would end up drafting end up attending the Senior Bowl. So just getting an early look at these guys from before they stopped playing college ball. Now we haven't seen these guys since a lot of these guys wasn't playing in the playoffs. So this is our first look at how they are adjusting to NFL life, these NFL playbook, and these NFL coaches. Rocco, what do you love about the Senior Bowl?
I feel like this is the first step on the road to becoming an NFL player. Um, it's just what I love about the Senior Bowl is the names that kind of come out of nowhere, people that weren't on anybody's radar, guys like Terry McLaurin, guys like Tank Dell. They dominated at the Senior Bowl, and they went on to have good careers. Dell's been hurt, but he did look pretty damn good his first year. And he showed out at first at the Senior Bowl where he was killing everybody in one on ones.
Yeah, I think that is the time where you just get to see more of those one on ones, and to me, I kind of like that's my favorite part of everything. It's sort of unfair because you see those cornerbacks get picked on. They have those wide receivers running those inside breaker routes. It's hard to cover those
With
by
no
yourself
help.
with no safety help. So it's not really realistic for in game. But where you do get to see is guys if they are already natural separators, that you want to see them separating in one on ones. If you see somebody getting locked up in one on ones without no safety help, let me tell you, it's not a good sign. Off for that prospect, whether it's a receiver, whether it's a tight end, this is the atmosphere or the environment is suited for you to show off your skill set, right? And a
Especially
lot of
on
guys
offense.
100% on offense. And a lot of guys have taken this time to set themselves in front of their peers and get well, shoot. So, for example, somebody like a Jalen Rose who only did play like 7 or 8 games in the season. He was out for with a foot injury. This is his first time in a while showing NFL scouts what he can do. And he's even said he's about 80%, but man, has he been showing out, and we'll get into that later on in our show. But like I said, this is one of the most fun times for me and Rocco. This is actually one of our goals for next year to be able to attend the Senior Bowl and to get those media credentials, just so we can get a deeper look, be able to give you guys a deeper insight of actually being there, seeing with our actual eyes of these guys make plays out there. There's a couple of big, content creators in this fantasy, realm, or even just in football in general, being some of my favorite Dallas Cowboys content creators that are at the Senior Bowl right now. And shout out to you guys. Shout out to Foots the King. He's out there, giving us deeper insights. You got, a couple of guys from the Dallas Cowboys Media Center giving us some more, clips and footage out there. So appreciate all you that are out there giving us these clips because man, I want to be out there. I tell you.
Yeah, yeah, and the guys on the ground, when you're there, you get a better feel of, the guy's personality when you're there. Everybody sees the plays, but rarely do we get a look behind the curtain of how these guys really are in real life. So kudos to them, but we'll be there next year. It's not a goal; it's gonna happen.
Oh, it's going to happen, baby. 100%. And that is fourth in fantasy certified right there. Rocco, before we even get into the Senior Bowl, because we got a little bit, there's a little bit of time before it ends. It's tomorrow, but we also got another big event. Chiefs Eagles, that is the Super Bowl. It's the rematch. God damn it. It's whether you like it, whether you love it, whether you want to go up and throw up in the bathroom. I am with you. How do you feel about this Super Bowl? What do you expect out of this? Do you think it's going to be a high scoring game? You think it's going to be a very well, it's a Super Bowl, so you think it's very you would want a highly competitive game, right? For something as big as it is.
Well,
What
the best thing about the Super Bowl is it's in my city.
is in his city, baby, in New Orleans. Oh, and before we get into the nitty gritty, do you think Lil Wayne should have been the halftime show?
Um, I would say yes, but my man's not aged well, so I don't know if he has the stamina to hold up out there.
Well,
And he really don't. He's from NOLA, but he don't live in NOLA, and he hasn't represented NOLA in a long time. He's a fucking Green Bay fan, and so yeah, it would have been cool to have him, but I mean, we got the hottest guy going, Kendrick Lamar, right now,
Kendrick Lamar, yeah, it should be a good show. It should be a good halftime show. I always love watching that. That's one of my favorite things of the Super
and
Bowl.
and who's to say Lil Wayne doesn't come out and make a guest? I mean, it's never just the guy that's the face of the halftime performance. There's always guests, so I'm kind of interested to see who he brings out there. Maybe he brings out Juvie. Maybe he brings out Lil Wayne. That would be pretty cool. I don't know. I'll find out the same time you guys find out. I don't have
So
the skinny on that one.
this is the rematch from 2023. Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles, have the potentially can get their lick back on the Chiefs and on Patrick Mahomes. And honestly, at this point, and I kind of hate myself for saying it, kind of makes me want to just run outside and get hit by a car. But I sort of want the Philadelphia Eagles to win this, Rocco, only because I'm tired of kind of Travis Kelsey. He's the whole. I don't know if you saw the clip from in the game for this past weekend where he ran up and I think Travis Kelsey's like the only bot and only person in the NFL who can get away with taunting without getting the flag because it seems like he just gets up in people's faces. And like I get it, you're a troll. You kind of like get into the next person's head but I swear, it's the Chiefs get the most just pampered, cold, pampered. They just like the little prima donnas. They can't do nothing wrong with the refs. I see you now at the NFL. I can already see the script. I'm looking into the camera while I say this. Don't let no, but I'm gonna put some moolah on the Chiefs and see what happens. If the Eagles win, that's how I know the NFL rigged. That's how that's how I know.
So, so if the Eagles, you're gonna bet on the Chiefs, but if the Eagles win, then it's rigged.
Yeah, it's
Not if
rigged
the
because they
Chiefs
don't,
win. Like,
or they just don't want to see Huncho win. They just don't want to see the son of your Buolo get his little
man,
dub.
man, if y'all that into the podcast, man, subscribe, like, share, so
Please,
because that's
yeah,
you know, I heard that we had a new fan base out there, south of us, real south of us, because they thought that we were selling meth.
yeah. That was the most
Is
hilarious
that
thing.
is that true?
That was the most hilarious thing. We have, I believe, like three videos ago, we titled our video "Meth Up Film Watchers," and we ironically got a demographic from the Mexican Geographic who tuned in. Yeah, we instantly became the fantasy pod of the black market, if you will. We don't got that yayo. We don't got none of that, but we
Hey,
do got the vibes. I tell you that.
hey, we promise we're not selling meth, but if y'all meth heads want to jump in, jump in. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, we got what you need, just not what you need, what you're looking for, but
What you
we got
need
it.
for your ears.
See what I'm saying? But no, this Super Bowl is going to be 100%. You know, the kind of Eagles are in a way proving me wrong, and I'll tell you how they're proving me wrong. The most shit that I've talking about all year that hey, y'all ended up hiring Kellen Moore as your offensive coordinator. He leads them to a Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley has a 2,000-yard season. Now, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the season that advanced. If we look at the advanced analytics, he doesn't have as good as the season he's had prior years. And then you have the wide receivers who also didn't have a great season as well. Mind you, they were also banged up. But overall, that passing offense didn't look too hot. But that rushing offense, though, man, did it take over. And we heard throughout the week, Kellen Moore is interviewing for the Saints and the prime candidate for the Saints head coaching job after saying like y'all wasn't very keen on Michael McCarthy. Hmm.
Um, I I think Mike McCarthy got wind from his old OC that he may be taking the Saints job, so he bowed out so that he didn't look like he got rejected. That's just what I hear on some of my other Saints podcasts that are kind of in the know. It makes sense, but let me tell you, if Kellen Moore doesn't take our offer either, the Saints are fucked. I don't even
There.
like Kellen
Mhm.
Moore, but we've gotten rejected from people I don't even like. I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck.
Loomis,
Nobody wants to
that
take
man
our job.
Loomis.
Loomis is like kryptonite, man. He keeps even Superman away, man. He's just terrible. But Kellen Moore at this point would be an improvement over some of the other guys that they talked to, like Mike Kafka, who is the OC for the Giants.
I heard that one.
Yikes.
I've also
Um,
heard today that he potentially might end up taking away play calling duties from Brian Debo and end up being the Giants play caller.
I mean,
Hmm.
I'll
Mm.
give him a little bit of grace because he had Daniel Jones, so
Hmm.
it doesn't matter
That's what
how
we're
good
gonna
a
do.
coach you are. If your quarterback's Daniel Jones and you got that team to one playoffs, you're like, you're a pretty good coach. But it's just hard to take in a coach from a team that's like, you know, one of the worst teams in the league.
I
But
hear you.
that's where the Saints are. It's either that or get back Rizzy. It'll be something when Rizzy says no.
Yeah, we'll see on that one. I am.
Rizzy's like, I'm good, man. I just got a special teams coordinator job with the Rams, and I'm out of here. Peace.
Hey, listen, y'all in the world of trouble. It's kind of I don't know what to expect from these Saints because one cap hell, and then you have organization wise structurally, some people might not be fucking with it. Yeah, shit. Sounds like some of y'all fans ain't even fucking with it. So,
The
it's dark days for New Orleans.
the problem is Loomis has iron grip on this team, and he's not letting go. And people would rather deal with shitty owners than deal with Loomis at this point, and that's scary because they got a lot of bad situations in the league, and for
Yeah,
us to get rejected by all of them, it's pretty scary. I mean, we we're talent deficient. We're run by a megalomaniac, and we're married to Derek Carr with no intriguing options on the team. We're old at almost every position, and we're capped out, so it's not a very sexy position around the league. But yeah, fuck talking about the Saints.
yeah. Fuck this. That's
I
not.
we'll talk about them later, man. What I like about the Eagles is they're just so good on both sides of the line, and that's where they're gonna have to dominate to win the Super Bowl. If they can do that, I think they have a good chance because, um, but it's just so hard to bet against Mahomes. That some bitch wins every time.
It's
Like the
hard.
only time he really lost a big game was against Joe Burrow and Tom Brady. That's pretty big shoes to fill. But if anybody could do it, it's the Eagles because the Eagles are just so damn talented everywhere. I mean,
You
they're great
fucking
on the
right.
lines. They got the best running back in the league. They got two guys that could be number one receivers for over half the league. They got a damn good quarterback with a easy with an easy button on every short yardage play. They're not going to get stopped,
Good
on
defense
fourth and
and so
short. They're going to
so.
not get stopped close to the goal line. They're going to always score that touchdown. Um,
I
but
just, I think overall the Philadelphia Eagles are a fairly good coach team, and it shows out every week. They when you think they should have won the game, they end up coming out on top. So they're going to have to bring their air game against Patrick Mahomes. You can't mess up against Patrick Mahomes because he will make you pay for it. You can't start off slow because he will make you pay for it. You can't be lack of you can't give him too much time in the pocket because he will make you pay for it. So the Eagles, if they want to win this game, lean on Saquon. What you've been, your bread and butter all season, all year, and I think they'll be okay. We'll see
I,
what they do.
I'll tell you who can win this game for the Eagles is Jalen fucking Carter. They can't block Jalen Carter. It's going to be a long day because he is just a game record.
He's go dogs. Once again, he already got a rep from my boys.
Well, you should like the Eagles because like half of their defensive front seven are Georgia Bulldogs.
You're right, and
They draft heavily from the dogs.
I should
Um,
like it, Rocco. I
yeah,
should.
I told Jay, I told Jay, the Eagles fan, I think the real MVP is Roseman. I mean, he's put together a juggernaut um, team. He just drafts so well. He's always they're always that team that you're watching the draft and you're like, man, that guy's sliding. Why nobody's taking that guy? Oh man, he's sliding. Here comes the fucking Eagles.
Here
Jalen
come the top.
Carter, character concerns. Let's get him at 9. He should have been, one of the top 2 or 3 players taken. It's just like that every year. I mean, they got a great defensive line. They got a great linebacker core led by Zach Bond, who the Saints just let walk. And they got a great secondary. They got another sliding guy, Cooper DeJean, who's a great slot corner. I mean, that team is just loaded everywhere. And that's before you even talk about what they got on offense. So if anybody could beat Patrick Mahomes, it's this team. The Eagles should be the favorite, but it's just hard to bet against Mahomes because he's going to get all the calls, and he
Mhm.
doesn't seem to ever lose any big games. So that's my
And
take on it.
And that is what we think about the Super Bowl. I think it's 2 weeks away now at this point. This weekend will be the Pro Bowl, and then the next following weekend, the big game. But
Sorry,
let's
fourth
get
and
into
fantasy don't cover the Pro Bowl. Sorry,
the Pro Bowl.
y'all gonna have to look at that your shit yourself because I'm
Yeah,
gonna find
I'm
something
not.
to do that day.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm good. No, but let's get into these prospects, man. These wonderful guys that they've been getting me hyped. The more I've been watching these practices, the more I'm hyped for the second round of this rookie draft. I think it's going to be a
Hmm.
lot of good value, a lot of good depth, and these are some of the guys that have caught my attention, particularly in that range. It could be the second to that early third, but I got a couple of clips to bring, a couple of clips to
Bring
show.
it.
The first one I want to show the audience, Rocco, because we were just talking about him the other day, where we were talking about, ooh, there hasn't been that many sub 160-pound receivers in the NFL and have them pan out to be successful, right?
Hmm.
Tez Johnson might be a little different now. The way he been running these routes has been crazy. He's his height that he came out of the Senior Bowl 5'9", 156 pounds. That had me a little scared at first, because shoot, if he gets a little bit of hands on him, it seems like you can make him do anything you want. But the problem at these practices, Ben, They can't put their hands on him, Rocco. His route running has been crazy. It has you gave one of the most perfect comps the other day. He very much does look like Tank Dell on tape. And when you're in these practices, he looks like Tank Dell. His release packages are crazy off the line. It's hard, and you would think someone being 156 pounds, you can do whatever you want with him. That's not the case with Tez Johnson. He's twitchy as hell. And to go once again, look at that route. He's been making guys look.
Poor number 8, man. He just fell down.
He's been making guys look
Wow.
crazy all
Again.
practice these last 2 days, and he has jumped back on my radar. At first, I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about picking him in that second round, but if he goes to a team that knows how to use him and get, you know, maximize his potential, man, Tez Johnson could really be. You know what I'm saying? Tez Johnson could really be one of the ones. I'm back on that. I'm definitely back on that boat for Tez. How do you feel about him?
I think you know the days of football that we kind of grew up with guys like Calvin Johnson, big giants like Calvin Johnson, AJ Green. It's kind of becoming less and less. Like even the big guys have to be really quick with their routes.
Yeah.
And these smaller guys that run great routes and break off at the top of their stem and create separation. Those are the guys that teams want these days. And
Mhm.
this guy has it in spades. So I'd like to see where he goes. You know, if he goes to a good offense that has a plan for him, he can really explode because you can't teach those kind of separation skills.
Yeah.
Um,
His
but
brow. Look at that. Like you can see the in his technique. He got the head nods. Like oh my, the body lean. Like like put him on once again. You know how I feel. Put him on my Cowboys. God damn it. Toss him on my goddamn.
yeah. You take the whole Senior Bowl on the Cowboys if they can pull it off.
Give me him. Give me. Give
Man,
me. Give me Des Johnson. Damn it.
yeah, I mean, if you got a cornerback that can get their hands on him, they might be able to lock him up. But if you can kind of move him around and do some pre-snap motions to get him a free release, he's gonna make people look silly. So hopefully he goes to a team with a solid professional quarterback and they have a plan with him. We'll know pretty early in the draft if he goes, in the top 2, top 3 rounds. He'll probably be going somewhere that has a plan for him. If he slides, then the NFL is just not buying his size. But I'm very intrigued, and if a team invests in him heavily early in the draft, he's probably gonna sneak into at least the middle of the second round for me.
That's a perfect place to have him. Literally was going to say that he has put himself in that mid second round for me. And if he is anywhere available in that second round, oh, I'm running. I am trying to trade up to get me some Tez.
He
100%.
almost to me looks like a more explosive Tank Dell.
It's like it's crazy to say because Tank Dell is a great route runner, but I think Tez just might be a smidge better than Tank Dell at running these routes. So that's why I like me about some Tez. He going if he's available where I can and I feel good on the value, and depending on his the team he lands on, the sky's the limit for Tez for real, for real. The next guy that I would like to bring up, and man, is this tight end class so much fun from the U himself, Elijah Arijo. And I feel like I said that wrong, but
Elijah Elijah Arroyo.
Arroyo, there we
You gotta put them. You gotta drag them R's.
go. Arroyo.
Yeah. Arroyo.
Yeah, he is 6'4",
Oh,
251 pounds,
those
and
sweet feet.
he's probably been one of the, if not the best running or best receiving tight end that we've seen at the Senior Bowl. It's like he runs route like a wide receiver. He doesn't run routes like he's 250 something pounds. Like those, oh my goodness! Like
Those hips.
he's going to make a linebacker look silly when he gets into the NFL. Now he's not going to be much of a blocker, so he will have to get on the field with his receiving ability. But man, let him go to a team that doesn't care about blocking. Let him go to the Chargers, see what happens. You know how bad they've been looking for a tight end. Let him go to the Los Angeles Chargers. Let him go to like I don't know. I don't see them. I don't see the Bears coming off of him. But Cole Kmet, I would love to see him. Or who else needs a tight end? Broncos. If the Broncos ended up getting
Hmm.
like Arroyo, like oh my goodness, but that will he add a different type of element to that vertical game up the seam?
Yeah. What I've seen with him is he's got really good feet, and he's got really good hip movement with his shakes. I mean, I just like the way he's just burning these guys, and I think what this shows me, like in a you know in an overall way, is that this is a super deep tight end draft,
Oh my goodness,
and
yes.
like the more I see of these tight ends, the more they're not competing with the running backs because there's just so many good running backs in this draft. But this draft is making me want to get at least a couple of these guys on my team. And with the running back pool being so deep, these are some guys you could take a chance on in the third. Guys like him, guys like Harold Fannin,
Oh
guys
yes.
like Mason.
Well, ma-
Taylor Mason from LSU.
yes.
There's a lot of good looking tight ends out there that got good size, but that are receiving tight ends, and that's what we want for fantasy. Guys that can maybe not block their position, but
We don't
guys
give a
that can
fuck
be a
about
little
that.
bit off and
We don't give
off.
a
We
we
get
don't give
we
a
care
fuck
a
about
little
it.
bit about that because for some coaches, that's if they land on the wrong team, if you can't block, you can't get on the field. So we care a
100%.
little bit about that, but you know, a good offensive coach, coordinator, a team with a good offense will find ways to get that guy onto the field because you can play him a little bit off the line and just have him run routes, and he's going to make linebackers like that look silly in space.
Silly. And in 2024, he had 35 catches, 590 yards, and seven touchdowns. One of the things that I found noticeable was that his longest touchdown was 74 yards. That tells you all you need to know about him being able to stretch the field and be a playmaker. He's just not something, you know, with tight ends being that underneath friend, best
Hmm.
friend of a quarterback. He can be that guy to stretch the seam. He could be that guy that you can do those short, deep crossovers with. I like me some
Yeah,
Arroyo.
yeah,
I
and
think he's gonna.
he was top 10 at his position in NCAA football for receiving grade according to PFF. So he's got some film watchers that liked him before the Senior Bowl. So he's definitely emerged on my sleeper list, and hopefully he gets to a team that can utilize it.
And to Rocco's point, with the depth of this running back class that is going to push. Like I said, I spoke about this on our Blue Sky account where this is the year to have those second and third rounders because of how deep the RB class is. It's going to push other guys down, right? I don't see Arroyo going in that early mid unless someone's crazy, right? Because there's other guys that I like, but I don't see him going in that early to mid range of the rookie draft. That late, that's where I could see him going because you still got
Hmm.
other guys like Loveland. You mentioned guys like uh,
Harold Fannin,
Errol Fannin. I like those guys, right?
Tyler
I think
Warren.
Tyler Warren, first rounder. I think Fan is
Hmm.
a second rounder. I think Arroyo is a second rounder to third rounder. I think you mentioned them, the other tight end from LSU, Mason Taylor. I think
He's looked
he
good,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, he looks really good, and he could be somebody you get in that early third round. Man, if you needed a tight end this is the draft. I've already made the choice in my head on some of these rosters I have where I don't have a very noticeable playmaker at that tight end position. I'm walking out of this draft with one of these guys for the foreseeable future to have my tight end position at least more, how would you say, sexy, if you will.
And I will say this, just based off of his PFF grade, he was top eight in blocking as well. So maybe he has a little talent on that side too, and that will help him get
Yeah.
onto the field
He
a
has
little
the
bit
size for
quicker if
it.
he can
Hmm.
do that, and he can do what he's showing here. At the Senior Bowl practice as far as receiving, he's gonna have a good career.
You know what time it is, Rocco. One of my favorite people to talk about, my sleepers, my favorite sleeper, Jalen Royals, and he has been tearing it up. Look at him go. He's like, ew, I need that. Look at how, like, his releases have been amazing. If you ask me, I goodness gracious, and before the Senior Bowl even started, he was one of my guys. Snug Fantasy has talked about him being one of his top five guys. Matt Owen has talked about him being one of those top five guys, and I agree with them. Even before we cut the tape, the first clip I saw of Jalen Royals, I knew this man was going to be nasty. I was like, what is this caliber player doing at a Utah State? His release package is dummy. His route running is crazy. He's fast. He even came in at the Senior Bowl at 210. Oh my gosh. That is, and a couple of teams that I've heard been trying to talk to him are the Packers
Hmm.
and the Patriots. Who boy, those if those aren't teams that are needing a wide receiver help, I tell you that. Now it would hurt my feelings a little bit if he went to the Patriots because that doesn't mean that would make me feel a little scary on my Javon Baker shares. Like he's getting kind of tossed to the side a little bit. I don't want that, but if you look at it, also Kendrick Bourne might not be back. Depends on how they feel about DD Demario Douglas. I still think he's a good wide receiver, so I still think he's around. But we'll see. But Jalen Royals is by far in my top five. I love him. I think he's a great prospect. I think he's very much still underrated, and he's going to shoot up people's rankings as the more of the offseason goes by. I'm not going to be able to get enough of Jalen Royals at this offseason.
Hey, if he's good enough, he'll earn targets no matter where he goes. That's the good thing about receivers is, they kind of earn their targets by showing out in practice and creating
100%.
separation and demanding the ball, from the quarterback by their ability to get open and catch the ball and make things happen. The thing that really impressed me, um, besides what he's shown on film, is he's 210 and he's almost 6 foot. He's not a
Yep.
small guy. When you first showed him to me, I thought he was a small guy, and then I started kind of watching the tape, and I'm like, this guy's kind of big. Like
Yeah. Hmm.
usually guys that don't get into big programs, guys at a Utah State, they're there because they're undersized. They're not that athletic, and he's none of those things. He's super athletic. I think you mentioned that he might run a 4.3, and
Yeah.
at two
At
ten, he can
210.
play some. He can play some bully ball. I didn't see the clip there, but I saw a clip where a guy just bounced off him. Some people might say it was OPI, but they didn't call it OPI. So we'll just say that he deboed the dude, and the dude just fell down at the top of his route and was wide
I
open.
know
So
exactly the cup. Yep. I
I'm
know
kind of
exactly.
I'm kind of really excited about him, and hopefully, his name doesn't get out, and I can get him somewhere in the second, because he is an exceptional player, and not only that, he has a cool name, so he's a guy that I would definitely want to roster.
Me and Rocco are on the same page on this one. Like I said, he's gonna be on quite a few of my teams. When you look at the with the speed he has, the hands he has, how physical he is, the size, all that put into one. And if he goes to the Packers, mind you, Christian Watson tore ACL, Dobbs. I'm no disrespect, but he doesn't really do he's not a wide receiver that's going to prevent me from drafting a receiver, right? And then it depends on how you feel about Jayden Reed. I just sold Jayden Reed. I'm not. He's not. I'm not saying I'm officially out because he's still a playmaker, but at the same time, he's not a wide
The
receiver one to me,
the
and he didn't. Go ahead, Rocco.
the Packers need a wide receiver one. They got a bunch of twos and they got a bunch of threes. They kind of remind me of the Patriots. It's funny that they're in both in the same conversation. I think he can come in there and be the alpha dog for those teams. Um, and I'll go even one further. If he tests out well at the combine and his foot checks out, I know he had a foot injury that ended his season early. If that shit checks out and he runs a blazing 4.3 at the combine, I would I would not be surprised if he goes in the first round.
Yes, sir. And in the rookie drafts, you can easily see him, shoot up those rankings to where he is a later first round to that
Yeah,
early first, to that
yeah, I could see
early
him
second.
going in the first round of rookie drafts and the NFL draft.
So, Jalen, please stay quiet. I need you to shh. You're making too much noise right now. I thought I'd be able to get you to that mid to later round where people wasn't talking about you. Right now, Sleeper has your ADP fucked up, and they got you behind a few guys that you're so much better than. I need you to stay like that so I can get you on my team, my boy. But keep
Mm.
showing out. I love me some
Uh,
Jalen Williams.
he's strapped to a rocket ship right now. He's gonna just keep on going up. The price of the
Another guy
brick
that
going up.
Another guy I would like to talk about, and I was telling Rocco about this guy maybe about a month ago, that he reminds me so much of Tyrone Tracy, and this is Brashard Smith from SMU. He is literally almost have the same, career path as Tracy. He is a converted wide receiver who just started as a running back. And man, if there has been any running back who has increased their stock at the Senior Bowl, it has been Smith. Whether it's been him finding holes, whether it's been his running routes against linebackers, whether it's been will routes, whether it's been choice routes, he's been cooking everybody. And he's so smooth in how the way he runs routes. He's very twitchy. Now, he's not the biggest guy. He's 5'9", like 195. His body type isn't thickish. Is
Hmm.
he's more of that lean runner. But I kind of get uh, a little bit of Tajay Spears to his game, a little smaller Tajay Spears to Taiwan Tracy, if you will. I think he can be an absolute monster when it comes to like PPR if he goes to the correct team that will use him as a receiving threat and also as that runner. And he doesn't have to be that guy. I never see him being a workhorse type of bat. I don't ever see him being the lead bat, but he
Hmm.
can be a great 1B to somebody in an offense.
Yeah, I mean he's just super explosive, and if you look at it, um, a lot of the better running backs in the league are small guys. I mean, he's not quite 200 pounds. At 5'9", he could probably put on another 5 pounds and be rock solid. But if you look at guys like Devin A. Chain, like Bucky Irving, those guys are running back ones at that size. So they're showing people that you don't necessarily have to be 5'10", 220 to be a Pro Bowl type of talent. Even Jameer Gibbs is not super huge.
Yeah.
So that they're kind of showing people that those twitchy guys, that are quick in space, that can find a hole and take it to the house, that can make people miss in space. Those guys, definitely have a role in the league, and they have a definitely fantasy friendly role in the league. And this guy, if you can get him out in space and let him run away from the defense, 8 to 10 touches, you might get a running back two out of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. In 2024, Smith, he had 235 carries, so he didn't have a lot of tread on the tire, which we like to see. And then he ran for 1,332 yards, 14 touchdowns. He also caught 39 balls, 327 yards, and four touchdowns. If that isn't all purpose, oh my goodness, I don't know what the hell to tell you. If this man isn't a dual threat weapon, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Okay. I like, and you're going to be able to get this guy. This is a third round guy. You might even be able to get him in the later third to fourth round. But if he keeps showing people what he is made of, I can see myself spending an early third on Brashard Smith if he goes to a good team that's going to use him both as a receiver and runner, 100%. And just to mention his years where this is his first year converted as a running back. His
Hmm.
previous years in 2023 as a wide receiver, he had 22 catches, 263 yards, two touchdowns. In 2022, 33 catches, 308 yards, zero touchdowns. I think converting to a running back was good for his career and probably even uh, increased it for the longevity of it, as we saw with Tracy. So shout out to Brashard Smith. Keep doing your thing. And I have one more clip and give y'all a special. This has two guys in it because they come from the same school. Maybe you already know who I am talking about. And I am speaking of Jayden Higgins and also Jalen Noel. Boy, this is a tandem, Rocco. This is
Hmm.
a, and I want to speak about Jayden Higgins first because there's been a lot of comps to him kind of being sort of to Drake London. If you look at their size, he's about 6'3", almost 6'4", about the same size as Drake London, 217. And what I've seen from these practices, Rocco, for a person who is 6'3", I don't expect him to be so twitchy as he is. I don't
Hmm.
expect him to move the way he does. Some of the pros that I have for him was that he is a savvy route runner. He has a nice catch radius at 6'3". I said he was twitchy, quick for his size, and he uses tempo throughout his routes. He knows how to set up a defender, start off slow, then he speeds up that route and creates the separation needed for. I actually like Jaden Hicks. He was always projected to go
Hmm.
in that mid round of the rookie draft, but he's been showcasing a lot of good talent.
Yeah, he sounds like a former Saint to me, Michael Thomas. Um,
That's a comp. That's a comp I heard of him.
Michael
Yep.
Thomas, he could be the new slant king. Maybe, maybe he could have a longer career if he, won't argue with people on Twitter and shit on the team, which he was right about. Not gonna say
You
he was
wasn't
wrong.
wrong. You
Not
wasn't
gonna say
wrong.
he was wrong. But you get blackballed quickly in the NFL. You talk shit about the owners and the guys in charge. But yeah, if he could be even a little bit of Michael Thomas, we so soon we forget I think he had one of the highest catch total
He
years
did.
in NFL history.
In his
He
first
kind
four
of
years,
fell.
first five, yeah.
Yeah, he fell off a hill after that. Well, really, it was an injury that the team encouraged him to play through, and he was just never the same. But anyway, if he could be even if Higgins could even be close to Michael Thomas,
Hmm.
that is going to be a steal, because it's rare to be that size with that kind of twitchiness because you know, guys that size, like we were talking about earlier, you can't just be a jump ball specialist. You have to be able to put people on the ground like that.
Yeah. And then you got his teammate Jalen Noel, and this guy reminds me of so much of Golden Tate, or not even Golden Tate, Christian Kirk. When Golden Tate and Christian Kirk, if there was one, if I had to put a player comp together for somebody. At 5'9", 196 in 2024, he caught 80 balls for 1,194 yards and 8 touchdowns. The pros I have for him: elite short area quickness. He is so sharp out of his cuts, which causes him
No.
to be able to run crisp route breaks. And then he's also like his teammate, a nice route runner, route savvy. He uses head, face, and body leans to get open and set up his defender, which I love. He's one of the better natural hands catcher in the draft for his size. He's a yak monster. That's one of the notes that I have for him. The only really cons I had was his long speed. I don't think he has, but I don't think he needs it. And then if you really want to count this as a con, is his height. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I love his height. I think it's
Hmm.
great for what he does. He doesn't need, because I think he still has that mentality of this is my ball, and he will go up there and get it for a person who is 5'9". I am becoming one of the bigger believers of Jalen Noel, and one of the guys that I will be targeting in that mid to late second round. And if he, if some guys aren't as football knowledgeable as some of us who actually do watch the Senior Bowl, if you don't watch the Senior Bowl, I feel like that's such a discredit, or like it's counterproductive to you as a fantasy player, because I think the Senior Bowl gives you an early insight over your league
Hmm.
mates who don't watch that, because you already learned about the prospects. So I love me some Jalen Noel.
And just real quickly,
Yeah.
Jayden Higgins had the number one out of big schools. There was one guy above him at Army, but I haven't heard his name at all, so we're not gonna even talk about him. But he's basically number one in receiving grade in his whole class. And Jalen Knowles not too shabby either, not coming at number 18, and both of them had near 1,200 yards, which is pretty incredible for a 14 game season in college. So both of them, had really great seasons, and I'm kind of interested to see where they land.
I'm super excited for tomorrow. And just to remind you, the Senior Bowl East West Shrine game is tomorrow. Make sure you catch it. It's one of, if not my one of my favorite events of the off season, draft season, work time schedule of what we get to see from these prospects. We get to see just them at an extra layer, and get more insight from the media that we have on ground. But yeah, that is our show for today, and the guys that you need to be watching out for at the Senior Bowl for your rookie drafts in 2025.
One
Rocco.
more, one more
uh,
guy I want to talk about before, as a little bit of an outro here, is a
hmm?
guy who's had a good Senior Bowl. He's big. He's made a lot of contested catches. Um, But he's showing heart because just not even a month ago, his brother died in the Bourbon Street attack, and I'm talking about Jack Bech. The strength that it takes to go out there and perform. With that heavy on his heart. He's been interviewed, and he's basically dedicated his career uh, to his brother, and he I, I feel like I feel like reading between the lines of what he said, you know, he said basically, he never knew what hard work was, but his brother, kind of instilled it into him, and now he knows how much harder he has to work, and he's thankful for the opportunity he's been given. I think he's gonna be a big time sleeper, and hopefully some team could find draft him and let him be one of their big slots, maybe like an Adam Thielen type of guy. Um, and he's gonna be a guy that I'm looking for late in drafts, and I'll probably have him on most of my teams just because I really feel for the guy, and I think he has real talent, and I want to see what he does in his career.
He is a unit. I saw a photo of him. I'm like, man, that guy is gigantic.
Yeah,
But commendable to him. Shout out to you, man. Keep pushing. Terrible incident, terrible moment in American history in general. But shout out to you for still persevering, still showing up for your brother, going out on the field and playing for his name. So I hope you have a good game tomorrow. Show out what your abilities have. Show these scouts and teams what you can do, and I hope you get drafted high.
yeah. I'm rooting for that guy. I'll be honest with you. I mean, to be in the position he's in, not even a month since that incident, shows real personal strength and fortitude, and just it's just an inspiration to people that for whatever reason they don't want to get up and do whatever that they need to do in their life. For him to get out there and really show out to the world, man, that's such an inspiration.
Yeah. And that is our show. A nice under hour, nice and sweet.
Smooth.
We will be back to y'all dropping another episode. We got quite a few episodes for y'all, just a little treat. And just so stay tuned, stay up to date. Make sure that bell is clicked. Make sure you're subscribed, share, like, comment. We're growing. Blue Sky is growing. YouTube is growing. Shoot, we're talking about the Senior Bowl next year. We will be at the Senior Bowl. That is a promise. Bookmark this video, save it, wherever you put it.
Ain't
We
nothing
will be
to it.
at
We just going.
we will be at the Senior Bowl in 2026, and that is fourth in fantasy.